Look, I think we're hearing, a strong message from all individuals running for leadership of our country here in Canada. Look, we're seeing, of course, Canadians are stepping up and are turning out to vote in record numbers. I think obviously the interest in voting has been driven by Donald Trump and some of the comments we've heard from him. And that's driving people to want to see certainty and, of course, looking to have a prime minister step up and provide that certainty going forward. Certainly one of the big stories, I think, over the last couple of months has been a major shift in polling towards the favor of the Liberal candidate, Mr. Carney. But I think there's a bigger story here at play, which is that both major parties now, we're seeing a lot of consensus, I think in response to what we're seeing to the south of us, where there's a real agreement around the importance of looking to do nation-building projects, finding a way forward on environmental approvals to make sure projects can move forward more quickly, and of course focusing on the development of trade corridors. So we're seeing that consensus, and I think that that's a good thing because ultimately that will serve Canada well going forward and ensuring that provinces like Manitoba continue to grow and develop.
Well, Minister, as you allude to the swings in polling, which our colleague was just speaking to as well, can you just describe for us the sentiment shift you have seen underway in Canada amongst Canadians since President Trump assumed office? Because we've heard a lot about the nationalism, Canadians not wanting to make trips to the U.S., for example. Just how powerful a force is that?
It's been an incredibly powerful force. Look, I think the comments from President Trump have really driven Canadians to unite in wanting to work together to ensure that we respond to the threats that we've seen to our economy and our sovereignty. Canadians are wanting to work together like never before in response to those threats. And so we're seeing that again in terms of the types of language we're seeing from all parties and frankly the two major parties that are contending for leadership of this country. And again, orienting them towards nation-building projects. And of course, for provinces like Manitoba, this is a good thing. We're well positioned to support nation-building work with the energy and the role that Manitoba plays as an important trade corridor, not only to Western Canada, but also to Europe.
Minister Sala, a few data points from your Chamber of Commerce in Manitoba. Manitoba exports $18 billion worth of goods to the U.S. every year, and two-way trade between Manitoba and the U.S. is valued at roughly $42 billion. What happens to those numbers if reciprocal tariffs as threatened by President Trump, and you can add auto tariffs if you want to that equation, are in fact put into effect?
Look, we know that there's no question that those tariffs and reciprocal tariffs will have a significant impact on economies across Canada, within our provinces and, of course, our country's economy. Look, we want a fair and predictable trading relationship with the U.S. And we know that this tariff war isn't helping anybody. It's certainly not helping Manitobans or Canadians, and it's not helping Americans either. Look, Manitoba exports, in terms of hogs, approximately 3 to 3.5 million hogs a year into the U.S. economy. Now, if 25% tariffs were applied to that, that's going to have a direct impact on the cost of bacon for Americans when they go to the grocery store, and of course, everyone's favorite breakfast sandwich product there from McDonald's as well. So, look, there's a high degree of interconnectedness, of course, between our economies. We know that the risk is real, but the impacts and the negative impacts will be felt not only by Canadians, but by Americans as well.
Well, and obviously a lot of that will come down to the decision-making of President Trump and negotiations with who ultimately ever gets the majority in Parliament and then therefore becomes Prime Minister of Canada after today. But Minister, provincially, what is Manitoba able or prepared to do to offset any hardship that those who are reliant on trade with the United States may come to if we are to see a deterioration in that trading relationship?
We'll always fight to protect our jobs and our businesses in Manitoba, and our recent budget in response to the threats that these tariffs have created to our economy was focused on really helping to ensure we were sustainable and that we had the resilience we need during this challenging time. And so our budget focused in responding to those threats by bringing forward a $3.7 billion capital plan where we're focused on investing in significant economy supporting infrastructure type investments, trade supporting infrastructure like our Port of Churchill in northern Manitoba, Centre Port, which is a multimodal facility to the west of Winnipeg, We've also leaned into procurement and bringing some of our procurements back to Canada and ultimately, hopefully, back to Manitoba to create more business opportunities in light of these challenges. Our province, along with other provinces, are also working very closely together to reduce interprovincial trade barriers, which we know is an essential thing we can do to help create more resilience and success for our job producers in Manitoba. So those are some of the measures that we're taking in response. Again, this is about creating economic resilience during this time of uncertainty, along with other direct supports for businesses as required. We will work to protect our jobs and protect our economy here in Canada and in Manitoba, Western Canada, and we're going to do whatever it takes to do that.
To what extent is China making this more complicated as you deal with the uncertainty over tariffs here in the U.S.? Manitoba is handling 100% levies from China on some pretty important exports, grapeseed oil, oil cakes and peas, a 25% tariff, pork and aquatic products. How large is that market? How much of an issue is this for you in Manitoba?
Well, we know that those tariffs are having a disproportionate impact on Western Canada, so I appreciate the opportunity to bring that perspective here today to your viewers. Look, the impact is real, of course, on our canola producers and our pork producers, and we know that those Chinese tariffs are also impacting our fisheries in Eastern Canada as well. So they seem to have been designed to try to divide our country. Canada will stand united. Our province, Manitoba, will stand united with the rest of Canada in holding firm against these actions. Again, we're going to work together with our agricultural producers to make sure that they can find new markets for their products and that we'll continue to support them. We're going to need some support from the federal government to do that. But again, we're going to continue to make sure we protect those jobs. Ag is a massive sector in our provincial economy in Manitoba and a key part of our value proposition, and we're going to keep making sure that our producers are supported and are looking forward to working with the federal government to work through this challenge together.
Well, Minister, as you talk about finding new markets for those goods, what trading partners does Manitoba need to draw closer here?
Well, I think there's significant opportunity for us in a number of areas around the world, but one thing I'd like to highlight is just the significant opportunities we have to expand our market in Europe as a province that's located in the middle of the country, but we are a maritime province. With our northern port of Churchill, our government has been making significant investments in the rail line that takes goods up to that port as well as the port. We're going to see critical mineral shipments double this summer from the port of Churchill. So a lot of exciting opportunity as it relates to expanding Manitoba's role as an important trade corridor for moving goods from Western Canada to Europe through the port, and ideally seeing more goods move from Europe the other way into Western Canada. So Europe is one significant opportunity for us, given that maritime port that we have. The port of Churchill is 1,500 kilometers closer to the biggest port in Europe in Rotterdam than Thunder Bay. So we do have an advantage there that we're looking to continue developing, and I think you can expect that we're going to keep working to grow that opportunity, that trade corridor, to expand trade with Europe and beyond.
Minister Sala, we've only got about a minute left. What are you doing tonight to watch the results?
We're going to cozy up somewhere here. We're here in Toronto and looking forward to sitting around and with other Canadians and watching the results roll in.